What's up everybody? Today we are reacting to a scaling Naruto verse to Universal Plus video, no data book and light novel statements. And this was created by, let me pull this up for you, Sapion edits. Sapion edits. Okay guys, this is my first edit, so don't mind my editing. The main part here is to prove Naruto verse is Uni Plus. This is so unfortunate. This is his first video and he's already being sent to the graveyard. Stay mad, downplays. Okay, firstly, not mad at all, because this I can already tell based off your editing that your scaling will be just as good. From mid P117, I meant happy 117. Okay, don't know why we're tossing in. You know, basically, if somebody attacks your character or your name immediately, you know that they're inferior to you. Like if they can't beat you in an argument, and if they aren't even like ballsy enough to tag me, like he didn't tag me, my followers found this dude and atted me. That's different. But if you don't have the balls to actually tell people and then make a video about them, then you're probably the most mid, if not the bottom feeder type person in the entire planet. So let's watch this amazing video. Let's go. So already I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10 for editing, because look how fat the Asutsuki God has been made. That is a fat boy. Not only that, look at that, white on white text. You can't even read this, and you're calling people clowns and you can't even edit. Your whole account's about editing, and I can edit better than this in my sleep. So today I'm going to scale Naruto verse to Universal Plus. I can barely read that. That was literally more effort than me getting through all of law school. By the way, for those of you who haven't been following my progress, this is just a bit of an exciting thing that you probably didn't expect, but watch this. Oh yeah. So, for those of you who aren't following my Instagram, you wouldn't know about my bodybuilding journey, but yes, I am going to compete in a bodybuilding competition, the ICN, and I've been prepping for that. So, before we get into that, alright, let me start from Kaguya, who is the reason of Naruto being Uni Plus. Okay, so I've heard this many times. This is my time space. Okay, false. It straight up says this is my time space, and you've used the physics definition of space-time. So why using physics for power scaling? It's automatically, this is like literally an appeal to reality. You have to be using the definition of what a space-time, or in other words, 4-dimensional is in power scaling. So this is what 4-dimensional is in physics. But we're not talking about physics. If you're going to power scale, you're going to use the power scaling definition. So the definition for 4D in literally power scaling, like if you're going to power scale, you need to use power scaling, okay, is you jump onto any of these, right? So I'm just looking at, for example, the power scaling dimensional tiering on versus BattleWiki. You can use other tiering systems if you so choose, if you're going to debate, right? But generally speaking, most people use this website. So 4D is normally around this area here. So we're talking multiversal feats tend to be around 4D. So it says right here, it can generally be fulfilled, Universal Plus level, by any 4-dimensional space that is either equivalent to a large dimensional space. And if you click on this, it basically explains the universe, and it even says here, such as our universe, portrayed as completely transcending a lower dimensional objects and spaces. So for it to be transcending, this means that it has to be some sort of large extra dimensional space that exists outside of the Naruto-verse. But it doesn't. It's been proven to be part of the Naruto-verse. So you would have to have clear statements saying that, oh, Kaguya's dimension isn't actually of the same universe. The problem is that it can be proven that her dimensions belong within the same universe. There's no explicit statement saying that it's in a different universe, and it doesn't say that if it was in a different universe that they've got a different timeline or anything like that. You can make assumptions, assuming it could be in a different universe, but really, based off the feats that she's pulling out, Kaguya is struggling against a multi-continental Naruto and Sasuke at this point. Like, think about what Naruto and Sasuke had achieved up until Kaguya. They haven't fought Toneri yet, so there's no like moon splitting feats. The best feats that Naruto and Sasuke have performed up until this point was literally Ten Tails destruction, or even Kurama being stated to, you know, turn the world to ash, but nothing like universe, right? We've got statements like Madara saying that he can use the Susanoo to destroy the universe, and that, you know, Orochimaru said that there's a universe within inside his belly or something like that. But these statements aren't really proving a universal structure. So for it to be a universe, it has to consist of almost like an, as it says here, an infinite space, infinitely sized three-dimensional space. And it's not just a space, it has to be of the similar qualities of our universe. So that's why it says such as our universe. So that means it's got to have planets, solar systems, galaxies, suns, stars in other words, and so forth. So, it hasn't been shown that Kaguya's dimensions have an infinite sized 3D space. If that was the case, she never would have been running out of chakra, because, you know, in order to create a universe, you would have to have a universe amount of energy. But she didn't. And when we're talking about creating a universe, we're not talking about like making a planet or a star one by one in order to end up with a universe. When you perform at a universal level, you can do that in one shot. Like you can harm people that are busting universes, or you can create universes yourself in one go. Not over a period of time. That would actually lower the feat, because your maximum output energy is not enough. So, based off this evidence alone, there is no evidence, actually, from this. Like, the fact that it says, this is my time space, that just that language there debunks the fact that it's a space-time, because it's not. You'd have to prove that Kaguya is talking about physics, but she's not. Like, she really is not referring to physics here. If anything, she's just saying, like, this is my space. This is my time space. And in the actual Japanese, she actually says just space. This is a fake translation as well. You can tell that this was a fan translation as opposed to the official viz. Okay, so low 2C. So time space equals 4D. Universe plus means Kaguya is already uni plus. Cope. Okay, I pretty much just explained this, but going deeper into this, it explains that they need, in order to be 4D, it has to be 4 dimensions of space, not 3 dimensions of space and 1 of time, right? So let me pull this definition up again. So, as it says here, it can be more generally fulfilled by any 4-dimensional space. Right? That's what makes somebody universe level plus, is if they can prove that there's 4 dimensions of space. So you literally just proved with your own little video here that, like, okay, let's go back to your past evidence. You said 3 dimensions of space and 1 of time. That's not 4 dimensions of space. I don't know if you can count, but 3 dimensions, like, so if you had algebra, for example, 3a plus b, what does that equal? It does not equal 4a. Because this is what you're saying. You're saying 3 dimensions of space, or in other words, let's call the dimensions of space s, and the dimensions of time t. So you're in algebra, right? You're doing 3s plus t for time. What does that equal? This is basic algebra. And you literally gone and said it equals 4s. 3D, or 3 dimensions of space and 1 of time equals 4 space, or in other words, 4-dimensional is what you've said. So the problem with that is you're adding time to dimensions of space when you can't do that. Even in physics, that is not the way it works. So you literally just debunked yourself here. And this is nothing new. Like, I've literally discussed this like maybe like 50 billion times. I think like I've had this exact question or exact scale presented to me maybe 200 plus times, and the only people that get clowned are the people that talk to me, and they never talk to me again. I've never seen them again. So, Kaguya betrayed us and feared our existence. Kaguya feared Momoshiki, yeah, so this is that scale that I said, that this person's scale is higher than this person. But it goes back to the whole plot of Boruto, right? If it's true that Kaguya was universal, then why didn't we see more universal feats from Urashiki, Kinshiki, or Momoshiki? Like, for surely, if they were universal, the type of fights that they would be fighting with, just picture Goku, for example. When he started hitting universal level, he was punching with Beerus and potentially blowing up the entire universe with his punches. If it wasn't for the fact that Goku could control his ki, then he wouldn't have been able to actually protect the universe from blowing up after fighting Beerus. Now, we don't see the same damage being done with Kinshiki or Momoshiki. They literally didn't even perform any, in the series, at least in the manga or the anime, any multiversal, universal type feats. The best that they really performed, which was in the novels, was a planet level feat of absorbing all of the planet's energy using trees, though. It's not really their own energy. And the manga reaffirms that by saying that the Asutsuki go from planet to planet devouring planets. Why do they go planet to planet? If they're really universal, why don't they just eat universe to universe? Like Galactus or something, you know? Well, even Galactus, you know, he only devours, you know, small amounts in comparison to entire universes. So I would actually argue that this still hasn't proven beyond planetary, and if, well, not anything actually. Based off this video thus far, we've scaled Kaguya to nothing. Because nothing has been proven with enough evidence based on the power scaling definition, not physics, because even physics debunks this too. Physics debunks this. Power scaling debunks this. Anyone that actually understands what they're reading understands that this was not a scale. So in conclusion, Urashiki, Kinshiki, and Momoshiki are Uni Plus. No. You've proven that they're all not scalable because you didn't provide enough evidence. The burden of proof is still on you to prove that they had universal feats. And feats are greater than really strange statements that you've misconstrued. Like, you can't just assume that time-space equals space-time. And you can't assume that Kaguya is talking specifically about a physics theory of general relativity, because you'd have to prove that Kishimoto knew about physics and intended to use, you know, those theories of general relativity in the scaling or dimensional creation of Naruto, which you can't. Alright, let me just zoom through all this. Sasuke also defeated Kinshiki later on means Sasuke is greater than, yeah, whatever, Ishiki. Fetch, why is this, like, editing so trash? Ishiki defeated Sasuke and Naruto in his weakest form together. Right? You mean Jigen. Baryon mode, Naruto was able to keep up against Ishiki. Somewhat. So I provided you guys that Naruto versus Uni Plus, so don't even think about saying Naruto's planetary at max. What? You didn't actually provide anything. You literally... This is what you provided. You provided this equation. 3s plus t equals 4s. That's what you concluded, 4s. But you can't do that in algebra. So, based off your logic, your line of reasoning, that, you know, like 3 bananas plus an apple equals 4 bananas. That's what you've concluded. That's how brain dead your argument is. Like, I literally knew just from the start the editing quality of this was going to be an absolute garbage scale, and you proved me right. I guessed 100% correctly. We still are forgetting Shibai so bad. Shibai descended in a monoverse. 3 to 4D, as I explained, means he is 5D, and don't even call him feetless. Okay, what? I know it was a hypothesis. I'm not dumb like downplayers of Naruto. So why do you keep using this clown symbol when honestly, the only person that you're clowning is yourself, especially with the creation of this. Like, you put a lot of effort into this editing, but it's garbage. And then secondly, you've put a lot of effort into writing this text that nobody can even read because you made it the same color as like half the stuff in the video. And then thirdly, your hypothesis, your actual conclusion, doesn't add up to what you've provided evidence from. Like, you literally said 3 apples plus a banana equals 4 apples. This makes no sense. This is the worst scale. He was an Asutsuki. Sorry, but the Shibai part is true. Who, as Amado correctly guessed, is no longer in this dimension. It was later confirmed by... Okay, so why does this have any relevance? So low complex, I already explained Shibai is 5D. How? Why? So Shibai ascended himself. Okay, first of all, in this very scan, you wrote here, Shibai ascended but Amado literally says Shibai is a corpse, and he used his corpse and put it into all of the different people of Kata. Like, he used different body parts of Shibai. And then here it says he ascended to a higher dimension where a physical body isn't required. Do you know who else ascended to that? Hagoromo. He's dead. So people that die can chill as a spirit in the Naruto-verse. We've seen this with Hagoromo. He literally became a ghost and he said, I am a man who is dead and I am a ghost. And then all he does is provide chakra from his dead ghost. / anyone that leaves parts of their body behind. Look at Hashirama cells. Like, this dude is basically like Hashirama cells on steroids. You know, like, if you were to equate that to like bodybuilding, like Shibai is like the trend of Naruto. So basically anybody that's munching on that Shibai corpse, like whether it be his leg or something, will just get jacked. Like, immediately super powerful, super jacked, and then they'll be able to destroy the universe type thing. This is kind of what this thing was trying to imply in the manga. But what you've said here, we're still forgetting about Shibai. So about Shibai who ascended himself to the higher dimension. He didn't ascend to a higher dimension of physical existence. See, when it says his body isn't required, part of the dimensional tiering requirement is that if you are a character that can go from 4D to eventually like low complex like this, 5D, 6D, this is representative of 5-dimensional, 6-dimensional, 7-dimensional. This is what we mean when we're talking in power scaling, yeah? It says, characters are objects that can affect, create, or destroy entirety of spaces who correspond to 1 or 2 levels higher of infinity greater than a standard universal model. So if you can destroy, for example, our universe plus 2 dimensions higher, which would be the 4th and the 5th dimension, then you would be 5D, or in other words, low complex multiversal. The thing is if you don't have a physical body, how can you destroy the physical universes? You can't. And that's the problem that Hagoromo had. Why do you think Hagoromo, who transcended or ascended to a higher dimension, gave his power to Naruto and Sasuke when he could have just finished Kaguya himself if he really was stronger? Like, the same argument of this Shibai here that you're trying to do, to say that because it says that he ascended to a higher dimension in spirituality, that means that he's physically transcended. But that's not true. Like, it would be the same argument for Hagoromo. So you could actually, I would, if I was trying to use your really dumb logic here, I would actually argue, and this is better scale, that Hagoromo ascended, because the same statements exist for Hagoromo as well. I'm going to let you try find that, seeing that you're so good at researching and editing. But yeah, it actually says that Hagoromo transcended or ascended as well, right? So all the way back when Naruto and Sasuke were a team, technically, using this logic, you could say that they were 3D or 4D then. So, universal based off Hagoromo. And that's why we had infinite speed Hagoromo, universal Hagoromo. Actually, people were claiming Hagoromo was outerversal, or just beyond space and time. Like, he was this resurrected guy who can't die, he's immortal. But it literally says that he's a dead person and he's a ghost. So how can he be immortal if he died? You know, and then the argument that they always present is like, oh, he ascended, you know, whatever, Buddhism, and they try to use all these, like, Platonic concepts and whatnot. But anyways, moving on, we're kind of getting into irrelevant topics like Hagoromo. So no, sorry, but the Shibai part is true. He was an Otsutsuki who, as Amado correctly guessed, is no longer in this dimension. Yeah, so it's confirmed that he no longer lives. He's in a different dimension, a spiritual one. And we know that in Naruto, we've even seen limbo clones. You know, Madara was using clones that were beyond this dimension. And they weren't like... But the interesting thing with Madara's clones is that they actually were able to impact the physical world. Hagoromo was able to give chakra to the physical world. However, Hagoromo was never proven to be able to destroy or create, which is the main criteria for power scaling, is that you need to be able to prove that that person can destroy or create in the physical world. And Shibai, unfortunately, doesn't have any feats of physically destroying things as his ascended higher dimensional state. The same is true for Hagoromo. The only thing that he could really do was transfer chakra. So he doesn't actually scale on the attack potency or dimensional tiering list because he himself, as a ghost, as somebody who has died, has never performed any physical feats. So if anything, what we've learned from Naruto is that if you're dead and you're in a different dimension, if you're dead specifically, you cannot affect or create or destroy universes. Because Hagoromo never did. Shibai certainly never did. The closest thing that we know from interdimensional affecting would be the limbo clones. But Madara was alive when that was happening. When he died, those limbo clones ceased to exist. And so did he. So, yeah, that's a different situation. If you're alive, you can create things that exist in other dimensions for some reason. So, apparently, the logic here is 3 bananas plus an apple makes 4 bananas, right? And then because Shibai transcended these 4 bananas, we now have 5 bananas. In other words, the 5th dimension. So therefore, Shibai is low complex multiversal according to the scale, which is not true. Conclusion: Naruto verse can be scaled to low complex. Yeah, so this is like the worst. Still waiting for a clown sauce and mid P. Watch this video. Yeah, nobody cares about this video, and nobody will watch this because after seeing my video, they're probably just going to be like, "This was the most garbage scale I've ever seen in my life." So, anyways, yes, let's go to this. I'll just read it carefully. Characters are objects that can affect, create, and/or destroy. So that means you need to be able to do all of these things to be in that tier. There is nobody in Naruto at the moment who has just straight up in one shot, you know, instantly created, affected, or destroyed not only an entire universe, but 2 dimensions higher than that. Nobody has done this. Not all at once and not in one feat. Like this is like this is kind of like Zeno when he was destroying multiple universes type thing. Or maybe Zeno's not a better example. There's a lot of better examples out there of people destroying multiple multiverses in one go. And I would say even then, destroying multiverses would still just put you at multiversal. You'll need to be destroying not only multiverses, but the dimensions that are higher above them, that have transcended those dimensions. So just being in a higher dimension doesn't mean anything. Like, you've got characters, right, that are higher dimensional beings that can come down into lower dimensions, but they can still be harmed by 3-dimensional beings. Like, for example, Iron Man is able to harm different characters like Galactus. So Galactus at different points of time is actually a higher dimensional being, as high as I've seen people scale them to outerversal, I believe. So that would literally be like 5 dimensions, 6 dimensions, 7 dimensionals, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Like literally, he can just ascend or descend between all these dimensions. But yet he can still be harmed by all sorts of Marvel characters. Okay? But just because you can travel between dimensions does not mean that you can affect, create, or destroy the entirety of those dimensions. So just because Shibai himself managed to make it to the 5th dimension, it does not mean he can affect, create, or destroy. Like, you still have to prove that he destroyed that thing. or created or affected it. Like when Goku was punching with Beerus, the ripple effect, the shock waves were affecting the entire universe. That would be an example of affecting. So, for example, if there was a panel that said the Asutsuki god punched, I don't know, Thor, and as a consequence, the fifth dimension itself was shaking. That would be an example of affecting the fifth dimension. Or, if the Asutsuki god punched Thor, destroying the fifth dimension, that would be an example of destroying the fifth dimension. And if it said the Asutsuki god created not only a universe, but all the way up to the fifth dimension did he create. The universe, fourth dimension, and the fifth dimension. That would be a fifth dimensional feat. Or you could even say it in a different way, which is created a universe and 2 dimensions ascending that universe layered above. Yeah, that would be an example of low complex. But based off this scale, in conclusion, you've pretty much said, and yeah, I've already said it before, and I'm basically just going to be repeating it. You said 3 dimensions of space plus time equals 4 dimensions of space. Now, Shibai, because he went to the 5th dimension, we can just say that means he's able, or just assume that he can destroy things into the 5th dimension simply because he got there. So, therefore, Naruto scales to the 5th dimension. But if you really break this down like I did, you're basically done 3 apples plus 1 banana equals 4 apples, and then 4 apples equals 5 apples. Like, that's literally the calculation you've done, the line of reasoning, the logic you've created. You've just concluded that 4 equals 5 because 4 made it in the presence of 5 apples, but they didn't actually destroy or create or affect those 5 apples. So yeah, this scale was nothing new, nothing exciting. If I was to scale Shibai, it would be far more exciting than this. But anyways, this is just my thoughts on it. If you want me to react to anybody else's awesome scales or any other videos for that matter, just drop a @ or you can message me on my Instagram or even on TikTok. Wherever you want to @ me, I will try and get around and do some reaction videos. Lastly, before I end the video, I have created my own gym wear brand. So based off any of the videos that blow up, I'm just going to put different characters on a shirt. So like, for example, my Musashi Miyamoto video really blew up. So I'm putting Musashi Miyamoto on a shirt, and I'm also putting Lubu, the flying general, on a shirt as well. And they were inspired by lots of different anime as well as history, like they're real characters. Happyverse is the name of the Instagram, and I'll be doing a drop, like an exclusive drop for those the Legends of the East. I'm going to create 3 different historical figures, and those will be put onto shirts, and those will be exclusively dropped in March. So there will only be a limited amount. I think at this point we have about 2,000 of them, but there's already been an extremely high demand based off all the polls I've done across TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. So I'm hoping to get some more shirts, but they will be limited stock, and then we'll just have to wait till the next drop for if you missed out this time. Thank you to all my loyal followers. You are the best. I'm so grateful for all of you supporting me in just all of my content as well as my journey. And that's why, like, I initially wanted to create this gym brand and my shirts for me. Like, I just wanted to have cool shirts. Like, look at what I'm wearing now. Like, in the gym, it's just like plain stuff. Like, they have pretty bland clothes for guys. So I wanted to put like some really cool characters, not just anime. Anime has already been overkilled. But I wanted to put like real people from history, like real warriors, and just dope gym quotes on the back to go along with that. So check out my oversized tees. They're designed for bigger people, bodybuilders, as well as they go all the way down to small, but because they're oversized, they're a little bit bigger than your average tee. Other than that, thank you to all my loyal fans. You are the best. Peace.